Hello?
Hello.
Okay, a little bit better. Hello?
Hello.
Several years ago, I did a workshop. It was called How to Give an Enchanting Presentation. And the premise of it was that people may remember what you say, but they don't forget an experience that has meaning for them. That's very much along the lines of what I do with hypnosis. Because I like to, people don't change because you give them information. Someone who wants to stop smoking already knows they need to stop smoking. What makes them change is they have an experience that's meaningful. It could be anything from realizing they're going to have a child. It could be having a shooting pain down your left arm. Now, smoking has a meaningful experience behind it, and that's how people change. So what I do is I help design those meaningful experiences while they're with me. What I do that's different than most people who call themselves hypnotists is I don't give the so-called hypnotic suggestion. I don't suggest anything. I give instructions. A suggestion implies that if you follow it, you don't have to. It's a suggestion after all. But an instruction implies that if you follow it, there's going to be a result at the end. Everything I do is about getting a result. People pay only for the result here, and that's only when I charge them. At the end of a session, if someone wants to came to stop smoking, they come in craving a cigarette. I insist on it. At the end of a session, I tell them to try and bring up that craving consistently. They cannot do it. So I take their money.
And their cigarettes.
Let me give you an idea. I say, well, the only thing that really has to happen is you just simply need to follow my instructions. I occasionally get some, usually they're young men who understand I'm a hypnotist. And they see this as a challenge, so they come up to me and they say, hey, I bet you can't hypnotize me. And I always switch it around on them. I say, you could be absolutely right. I cannot hypnotize someone who can't pay attention or who doesn't follow instructions. However, if you want to do a little test with me, we can make sure you're not one of those people. Now I've just challenged them. So I want to give you an example of what a simple instruction is. Everyone here, if you're right-handed, take your left arm and place it on the table. Okay, I know that Ross, Ed, and Jim are left-handed. Okay? Take your other arm and place it on the table, comfortably. All right, comfortably. Okay, I'm going to ask you to leave it there for a little while. So make sure it's comfortable. Your other arm. That would be your right arm. The one you don't write with, okay? So take the arm, the other arm that you don't write with, just place it comfortably on the table. And I see everyone has indeed followed that instruction. So very good. Now I'm going to see if you can, if you have an attention span. Uh-oh. Just leave it there. Okay? Just leave it there. For the duration that I'm talking, just leave that hand there, comfortably there. Make sure that other arm is just comfortable, and now you don't have to think about it. So just forget, not important, doesn't matter. Just forget about the arm, leave it there. All right. Now, one of the things that I always try and go for when I'm working with somebody is I try and create an experience for them. And the experience I want to create for them is one that does demand they follow my instructions. And I ask them to imagine, to pretend, to just suppose. And you've always heard the hypnotist saying, go deeper, deeper. You've heard that, right? All right. I at least tell them what that means. When I say deeper, I say simply, it means to focus more enjoyably. And we've all had an experience when we're focusing in on something. And it becomes very pleasant because all of the other distractions just sort of fall away. Right. So as you follow those instructions, we begin to sort of just focus in a little bit more, not just on what you want to get rid of, but also how you want to be different. And as we do that, that becomes more and more and more real for you. to the point where, and I always go for what I call the wow, where at the end of the hypnosis process, they open their eyes and they go, wow. Okay, a couple people I've worked with, did you have a wow when we were done there? Right. Because at that point, they know something is different. They know that something has changed. You don't have to do this with hypnosis. Hypnosis is very direct, but Dick, you talked to a woman, told her to quit smoking. And she said, you sound like my God. And so you said, and I know you were sincere, you said, sister, you need to stop smoking. She embraced you, she put the cigarettes back on the counter, she had that meaningful experience with you. Yeah. Right. True. And I knew she changed. Based on your story, I know that was significant. So for me, when people come to me, the things that I try and do are sometimes it's about changing habits that they don't want into behaviors they do want. Sometimes it's about enhancing something they like. Most of the people I work with will report that for some reason they feel stuck. They want to change something. That there is this part that just will not move. They say, I want to quit smoking, but I always have a craving. Or they have anxiety. And for whatever reason, they feel stuck because of that anxiety. So I want to give a little example of what it might be like to feel stuck. So look at the person next to you and look at their other arm there on the table. Okay? So look at their other arm on the table. And for this moment, just imagine that that's your arm. And now try to move that arm. You'll notice that arm does not move. You can try.
Move what?
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
They feel that stuck. And for me, the idea that we have a conscious mind and it is doing everything it's supposed to do, it really is what we can pay attention to right now. It's a result of evolution and God's gift, and what it does is incredibly powerful, but it's limited too. It's just what you're paying attention to right now. On the other half, we have a subconscious mind. It has everything else. It has all our memories, all our habits, all our behaviors. And it is doing what it's supposed to. Granted, it may not be doing what you want, but it's not broken. It's doing what it's supposed to do. My job is to give that part a different set of instructions. That's all I do. So I want to give a little demonstration for each of you. If you would, just take a look down at that other arm that's in front of you. Okay? And put your attention just somewhere on that point. And put all your attention on that point. So focus your attention somewhere on the point of that other arm. And for this moment, for right now, just pretend, imagine, just suppose that you have disconnected all control of that other arm. From the shoulder of the other arm all the way down to the hand of the other arm, so that you know, no matter how hard you try, that arm simply stays still. And focus on that point. Notice that as you focus on that point, you're going to notice that some of you, even though you try to move it, it just stays still. And who notices that? Just nod your head. Notice that? Okay, good. So for this moment, for right now, just close your eyes, and I'm going to ask you to pretend, to imagine, and just suppose. Just suppose that that person that you see when you look in the mirror is a person of real strength, is a person who is loved and loving, and is a good and beautiful person inside and out. And you know that that is true because you are that person, a person of strength, loved and loving. Just suppose that that person that you see when you look in the mirror right now is a person of value and a person of worth. And you know that's true because you are that person, a person of value. Now in a moment I'm just going to count from 1 to 5. At the count of 5, you open your eyes, say wow, move your hand, feel absolutely wonderful. So starting with 1, let the relaxation, anything you feel like relaxation, move from your body. 2, inhale, take a deep breath, let energy go into your body. 3, relax let energy go into the lungs, the throat, the head, the chest. 4, take another deep breath, and 5, eyes open, wide awake, feeling great, feeling wonderful. Okay.
Wow.
I think I've quit smoking.
And I'm hoping that answered a few questions about what I do. I'm open to any questions that you might have. Yes, Barbara.
You've mentioned that some people cannot get hypnotized. My husband tells me he's one of those people. I'd like to know why some can and some can't.
Well, hypnosis is a natural state. It's simply a quality of focus, in my experience. If you can pay attention, I suspect your husband can be hypnotized, but some people require more attention to do it. If they don't trust me or they trust the hypnosis process, it isn't going to work because I'm telling them what to pay attention to. And that may be it. It may be a matter of trust. Most people, if they have an attention span, can be hypnotized. Now, I have not worked with people who are on the autism spectrum or have severe neurological problems. So I don't know about that. But my experience is that anyone can be hypnotized, and if they come to me willing to pay money, I can guarantee you that they can be hypnotized because they're just ready.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Can you lower my handicap?
Yes. Very common. Very common. Golf is. Yes. Golf is notorious for using hypnotists to golfers improve their handicap. The bad part is they will never refer to the hypnotist that improved their game because it improved their handicap. But sports performance is definitely something that I do. And like I said, if there's something you want to do better, definitely I can help you with that. Any other questions?
Yeah, youth, children, do you work with them much?
I have to qualify them, and I will. I work with, youngest I think was 10, he had a phobia of dogs.
Right.
And it was amazing, I saw him and his parents the next day, or next week, and it was like, he was petting puppies, it was crazy. Yeah, I can do that. But I have to qualify, it sort of depends on the situation. Anyone else?
And someone that has a constant pain in their body that they can't seem to get rid of, can that help?
Yes. Now, what I do not do with pain management is I do not remove the pain.
Right.
I will change it so it is perceived as a warmth or a heat. And so, for example, if it's like a back injury, I work with a client who just got 12 days out of back surgery and hated the drugs. Mm-hmm. Managed to get it so that what he was perceiving was heat. And when it got warmer and hot, it meant you have to really limit your mobility. So then again, that's a part of what the subconscious mind does. It filters our perception, so we can modify that. It's relatively straightforward, but we can modify that so that they experience pain and sensations too. More questions? Come on. Yes?
Can you hypnotize patients who have a fear of dentists?
I've done that. Frankly, I don't know what the fear of dentists is. It's like, you mean all I have to do is open my mouth and relax?
Oh, there's a few of them, not a large percent, but there are a few that just, it's all they can do to get in the chair, because they're usually new to us, but we had one come to us years and years ago, and he would come in with his headset.
Yeah.
We called him Gummy Bear Freddy, because he liked gummy bears, and he was an older man. And after a few visits, finding out that we were really there to care about him in every way and comfort him, after the third appointment, he didn't come in with his headset anymore. He felt comfortable and relaxed, and he was there for years and years. And then he finally passed away, but he did get over that fear. It was just getting in it,
Right.
you know, getting to know us and what the practice was.
And that has a lot to do with situational anxiety. A lot of people don't like public speaking. I look at it sort of like crack cocaine. It's great things to get the admiration of all these people. But it's situationally, again, they have a response they don't like in a particular situation. And I just have to find out what they'd rather be feeling. Like I get all the men who want to talk to people they're attracted to. But they feel nervous. And I think, what? It's fun. And so
Well, I
it's
know
easy to change.
parents come in sometimes and 2 words they taught us not to say in dental school, and that was hurt and shock.
Yeah, yeah.
Parent comes in and says, oh honey, they're gonna give you a shot and it's only gonna hurt for a little bit. I'm like,
Right.
and we like to do the sweet talking thing. Hey, guess what? Mr. Injecto's coming today. And they're like, oh. Or Mr.
I got the nummy thing.
You know, and it's all about how you word it, and it
That
just
one's
changes
great.
their mindset.
Absolutely.
Too far.
The S word and the hurt word, I'm like, oh. man.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's amazing, the words you use and the.
Yeah, and I always get asked how I started with this. I grew up in southern Idaho, and Filer, Idaho had the Western Idaho County Fair, and I would always go there, and if the hypnotist was there, I would be watching the hypnotist. Of course, I was motivated at that time, I must have been like 10 or so, by a very juvenile desire for power, you know. This guy can do all these cool things. So that always fascinated me, and that's really sort of was the start of it. And since that time, I just did a lot of book reading, studying, got the certifications like that. As far as the clients that I work with, individual people, obviously people who feel like they're stuck, feel like they need to change something, and they can't do it themselves. The golden goose, that's what it's called, the golden geese, yes. The golden geese are major companies that have a wellness program. I have worked with, when I was in New Hampshire, I worked with the Easter Seal Society of New England, and I basically worked with their employees. You'd be surprised how many of those wonderful people have to take a break from managing agitated children to smoke a cigarette. So I did a lot of stop smoking with them, and I have some other industrial clients as well. So anyone, if you know someone who's in human resources who has a wellness program, that's a great referral. Any other questions?
You see these shows all the time about, you know, the hypnotist touches them behind the ear and they get up and
Yeah.
whatever. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a show, if it's an entertainment show, you please understand the context. They're a select group of people. Not everyone who comes up on the stage gets to stay on the stage. So the hypnotist is looking for someone who responds quickly and fast, so it becomes an entertaining show. Some of those people, if you interview them, they were hypnotized. You know, if he says, you see my head floating off, they see their head floating off. Others know well enough that they can pretend and play along so people respond differently in order to make the show entertaining. But yes, it is hypnosis, and it's not necessarily what I do, even though I've done things like that. Yes?
Well, I was going to say to that, it's been a few years now, but we went to the Idaho Coast State Fair, and my daughter was in the audience. And one of the people in the audience was not being hypnotized, so the hypnotist asked him to leave. So he looked around and he looked at my daughter and said, "You, come up."
Yeah.
I mean, and she doesn't remember the stuff she did, and she did some pretty funny things.
Yeah.
No.
And that's one of the things when I'm working with somebody, I don't like to do group hypnosis, but I have done it. What I like to do, I am very focused on the person. When they are that relaxed, we're about done, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah.
When I'm working with somebody, I am very focused on that person. They're obviously very relaxed. They're not asleep. They're aware of what's going on, but most of the awareness is happening just inside their head. So their responses are very muted. So I am like lasered in on their face and sometimes getting a head nod from them you know, almost have to lean forward and make sure that they're actually nodding their head. But typically, that's pretty much how I know, and I'm sure he was able to witness that with your daughter. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.